We're ready.
All right, awesome. Awesome. Welcome everybody. Really glad to have you guys here. And we are pumped to get this going. Really appreciate, I'm sure you guys have had a great morning, gone to other presentations. And today here, we're going to talk to you about Blue Missions, who we are, kind of the work that we do, combat climate change and educate our youth, like all of you guys that have come and joined us here. So what you'll learn a little bit today is you'll learn about Blue Missions, what we do, how we kind of combat the water and sanitation crisis, how that ties into climate change, as well as what we do now in terms of kind of educating our youth with other issues like the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So right here, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, just chime in the chat. We have our awesome Team 5 assistants here that'll kind of pause me and give me some direction on those questions, and I'll be happy to answer them for you here. So Blue Missions, BLUE, as you see, is not just the color of water there. It actually stands for building love, uniting everyone. That's kind of the core of our mission. And there we go. We got this screen share going. There we go. Our mission. We want to connect people that don't have access to clean water or proper sanitation while also inspiring a generation of global citizens. And so if anybody, while I talk about this, we're going to talk about global citizenship a lot. Kind of give me what you believe your definition of global citizens are. So again, I'll be talking. We'll make this as interactive as possible. You guys chime in on the chat what you believe a global citizen to be. And so I'll move to the next slide, which is going to talk about water and the sanitation crisis, while you guys kind of chime in on what you think a global citizen is. All right. So while we think of, and you answer, what is a global citizen? There is, a very simple activity that we do with all of our volunteers that travel with Blue Missions to help us, connect people with clean water and sanitation. And that is really think of all the different sources of water that you have in your home, right? So you walk in, you have a kitchen, maybe there's a sink, a dishwasher, maybe there's a washing machine. All of those items have water. The refrigerator has water. Maybe you go into the next room, you go into the guest bathroom. There's a sink in there. There's a toilet. There's a shower. Right? And that's just one bathroom. Maybe you have two bathrooms. So you can quickly see how there are many sources of water in your own home, right? We have always had access to this more often than not, right? A lot of us here in this presentation, in this workshop, don't understand what it's like to be born or to wake up and just have absolutely zero access to clean water. We have so many different sources. I even always joke, there's a spigot somewhere on the side of the house that's covered with the weeds that no one ever goes to. That's still, when you turn that faucet, that's still going to have access to clean water. You can still drink that water, right? Where we go, where we work, there's zero of this. So just kind of put yourself in that mindset. And so the next question is kind of understanding, clean water, very important, right? I have a cup of water right here. I'm sure outside of the classroom where my Team 5 assistants are, there's a water fountain nearby. Maybe you guys have some water bottles on your desks or on your person or whatever the case is, but we have very easy access to clean water. But 785 million people lack access to clean water. And I pause and kind of let that sit because that is a lot of people. It is very simple and everyone should have the right and the access to clean water. I have not found one person or met one person when I talk about Blue Missions and clean water and how everyone should have access to clean water that disagrees with this. So it's a pretty universal wish, want, hope that everyone should have access to clean water. And so if you don't have access to clean water, what are you doing to go get your water? You need water for a lot of things. We want to drink water, we want to bathe, we want to clean our dishes, clean our clothes, infinite reasons why we want access to clean water. And so the activity that I kind of want to set into place is, let's sit down, close our eyes, and think about a special woman, a special female person, right? Female person. Sorry, I haven't had my coffee and we're at 1:30. A female in your life that means something to you, whether that's your sister, your aunt, grandma, girlfriend, a neighbor, whoever it is. Think of that person. And usually when we think of that person and when we envision that person, we think of them doing some sort of activity that we always love or know. And there's a lot of warmth and love in that memory. I always think of my mom sitting in her favorite chair, reading a book. And the reason why I want you to think of a woman specifically is because if we were in a different space, if we were born in one of these places, if we were one of those 785 million people and families that didn't have access to clean water, that woman, that female figure, it would be her job, her main role to go collect that water for consumption, for cooking, for cleaning, and for bathing. So my mom is no longer, I wouldn't have that memory of my mom sitting in that chair, reading that book. She'd be having to go walk for water, right? Walking to the river, or waiting for it to rain and collecting rainwater, or walking to the well, right? All of these different ways to go get the water that we need to drink, to bathe, to cook, to clean, etc. And this walk is not just a lovely walk in the park, right? It's usually a very treacherous, very hard walk, carrying buckets of water, whether they're on your head or they're strapped or on your back, or you're carrying them as much as you can hold and weight with these buckets, right? And every step, every drop of water that spills out of that bucket is unbelievably important. On average, it takes 4 hours. Women and children spend 4 hours to walk to go get water, right? So how much can you bring back? How much does that activity take every time you walk to and from this water source? Not to mention now the water source that you're walking to, it's not clean water, right? Because we're lacking access to clean water. So we're walking, we're going, we get that water, we bring it back, we're drinking that water, we're getting sick, right? Something as simple as diarrhea from dirty water can kill a child in these areas, right? Right? The female role in that community, in that family, right? She's not able to go get a job because we need to go get water. That takes all day. You're doing this every day to go get water. The kids, your age, even younger, don't have the opportunity to go to school, or they can't go to school every day, or they switch off with their siblings or with their neighbors and say, look, I'll go to school today. You're going to go get the clean water. You'll go to school tomorrow. I'll get the clean water. And we switch off. So your education lacks, right? So a lot of time issues, a lot of health issues, a lot of educational issues with not having access to clean water. That's number one. Number two is toilets, right? I'm sure in those classrooms over at Ransom, in those hallways, we got plenty of bathrooms, beautiful rooms. It was the last thing we thought of a bathroom as beautiful, but you have access to a toilet, you have access to the sink, it's proper, it's sanitary, you can close the door, you can lock it, you have privacy. 2 billion people don't have access to a private toilet where they can go and do their business in private on their own in a healthy way, in a sanitary way. In fact, more people actually have a cell phone than a toilet, which is wild, right? So I give you these two stats about water and sanitation, which, attacking and having access, giving everyone access to clean water and proper sanitation is actually the UN SDG goal number 6. I give you this huge issue to tell you that, hey, Blue Missions actually has a solution, right? So we work in the Dominican Republic and in the Caribbean. And to date, we've actually accomplished 132 projects and have connected over 24,000 people to clean water, over 6,000 people to sanitation, and just over 2,000 volunteers have traveled with us to execute these projects. So we have volunteers from high school students and above travel with us to go execute and work on these projects, which are a lot of fun and is a really cool experience to see that your hard work can actually help connect someone with access to clean water or proper sanitation. So it's actually a fun story. We have a mixture here of teams, right? I'm Richard. If I didn't introduce myself at the beginning, sorry about that, but I'm the development director for Blue Missions. So I work on making sure all of our projects and all of our offices are funded. Alex on the call as well. You can see him here in the middle line here with the hat. I think you're wearing the same outfit here, Alex, in the picture.
I really might
He's
be. Yeah.
he's our fellow, and you see some of our team members here in the U.S. and in the DR, right? That kind of bring our team together. Our co-founder in the top left, Danny Rodriguez, he actually funded Blue Missions right out of high school. So he was just a year, maybe 3-4 years older than you guys. Right out of high school, he said, "Hey, I have this passion. I've been on a trip like this before, and I want to start helping more people, and I want to kind of build something." He didn't know what it was yet, but something that kind of can pass along, what I experienced as a volunteer and as a young person in high school to other people. And that's how Blue Missions was created, right? So Blue Missions is created. We facilitate trips for all high school students across the country to travel with us to work on these projects. And so what are these projects looks like? This is a water project. So again, I'm not a crazy smart engineer and kind of put all of these projects together and understand exactly how, the fittings and the piping works. I know how gravity works. I hope all of us here in this workshop understand how gravity works, and that's how our systems work. So we work out in the mountains, which you have a photo of right here, and we find the source of water at the top, or higher than wherever the community is, right? So that's why I got my background here up in the mountains, up from a source, right? So we find a source of water, we test that water. That water's good, it's clean, awesome. So now let's kind of build some pressure there with a mini dam, and then we pipe it to a tank, which is just lower than the source, but still higher than the community. And from that tank to the community. And then we make sure that we give every house a faucet when we're done with that project. And that's a water project. And so you'll see some pictures here, and I have other pictures later. But for example, this picture of the children is celebrating that the water is getting to their community because they've never had clean running water in their home. So you can imagine how exciting and how much fun that is. And then I have a picture here of a volunteer digging a trench for the pipe to go into so that then we can cover that pipe and keep that pipe protected for that final picture, that end result, access to clean water. And so this is our water program, just so that you see in 2019, unfortunately, obviously we could not travel in 2020. But the reason I show this slide is to just show you that it costs us $30. That's it, bottom left there, $30 to connect one person to clean water. And then just sit and kind of think about $30. Look at all of the things that you can possibly do with $30. It's a pretty awesome meal. Go to the movies for $30. All these things that you can purchase for $30 here back home. That's how much it costs us to connect one person to clean water. So not a lot of money. Next is sanitation, right? Toilets. Talk a little bit about that. Here's a nice before and an after. So before, here, this color picture, clear picture of what not improper sanitation looks like. Okay, a family used to go to a bathroom and something like that, right? So it's not private, definitely not sanitary, not healthy, not safe, right? And so what we do is we go and we construct these what we are called ventilated improved pit latrines. So you see the pit, it's actual pit from the ground, right? You dig down there. So there's a pit and you build on top of that pit, this structure that you see here, this latrine. And so there's cement, there's wood, there's a door, and there's an actual toilet in that center, right? So quick story for you, was out on one of our projects. We built them, this house, their latrine. We had the elderly woman come out and I asked her, what do you think about it? Does it look good? Do we need to do any fixings? So on and so forth. Here's your door, here's your lock, etc. And she looks at it and the whole group is just kind of waiting for her reaction, right? We just spent a few hours building this and she looks at it and she says, "It's beautiful." And we all just kind of sat there quietly and it kind of hit us in the heart. And we said, wow, guys, when have we ever walked over to our bathrooms, our toilets and said, "It's beautiful," right? So it's a very special moment and something that you don't realize that we may or may not be taking for granted, and how important it is for these people that lack access to clean water and proper sanitation. And so here's some more numbers for you guys. Our average cost to build one of these things, $328. You see a model of one there in the background. This is one that we actually built out in Nicaragua, which is really fun. And the number of people that we've connected with Sanitation to date, just over 6,000 people. So awesome stuff here when it comes to being able to just volunteer, get your hands dirty, and see the benefits of your work, right? So with Blue Missions, you're not going out there to work with us to then kind of hope that it got finished or not see the finished product. You're seeing your efforts, your work kind of turn into that finished product, which is always also a lot of fun, right? Makes you feel good. And so when you're with us, these are just some pictures I have here. If you split the screen in the middle, right, the pictures on the left are on a water project, and the pictures on the right are on a sanitation project with us. If you're on your WOVA app or Huva, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say it properly, but you can see you can see kind of more information on our websites and kind of see what the projects are like and how to sign up for a project. So on the left, we're building the tank, that holding tank. You're taking those pipes everywhere, you're gluing the pipes together, and you're digging those trenches. On the right, you have sanitation, where it's a lot more construction. You're in one area, and you see that structure of what is the latrine being built here in the top right, bottom left, and that toilet being put in, which is always a fun, special moment, right? So I tell you what Blue Missions is, what we do, building love, uniting everyone. We focus on water and sanitation, but also want to inspire our volunteers to become change makers, to become global citizens, which I hope you guys have been thinking of what global citizenship means to you. To introduce to you and give Alex the floor, as he's not that much older than you guys, just graduated out of college, which I hope is somewhere all of aiming to go. To introduce himself, to give you an example of why it is that he felt so inspired to go on Blue Missions and what that meant to him as a volunteer. So Alex, please take it away.
Thank you, sir. Greetings, everyone. My name is Alexander Alvarado. I'm a fellow of Blue Missions, and I'm also a recent graduate from Florida State University. I graduated with my bachelor's in international affairs. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. But I'm also just going to share a little bit more about the experiences that I've had. So I grew up in Miami. I went to Terra for high school. And I went on my first Blue Missions trip the sophomore year of college in 2017. And before my first trip, I really never heard of Blue Missions. I'd never seen a presentation, never seen a flyer. I didn't know anything about the water crisis in Latin America or anywhere else around the world. Even like on my way to the airport to go on my first trip, I didn't even realize Blue Mission was hosting the trip until I got to the gate and I met the Blue representative, Leslie, who ended up being our leader for the trip. And fast forward 8 days from that moment, and I was really just completely blown away. It exceeded all the expectations I had. I didn't realize how inspired and how fulfilled I would feel from serving other people in that setting. And it really motivated me to want to learn more, to become a better servant leader and a better global citizen in general. And from there, I just tried to have as many experiences as possible. I ended up working in India and France for nonprofits as an intern. I worked with the International Rescue Committee as a caseworker for refugees from the Democratic Republic of Congo. At school, I became heavily involved at my university, just with like anything that had to do with global citizenship, nonprofits, or international development. And now I found myself back in Miami with Blue Missions as their fellow this year, which I'm very excited for. So now I'm just going to go into the United Nations a little bit here. So United Nations, or the UN, is an international organization that promotes peace and prosperity around the world through international cooperation with different countries. And the United Nations has something called the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which was founded in 2015 by 70 member countries as a universal call to action. So I just want you to bear with me really quick as I go through every goal. I promise you it won't take too long. So goal number 1, no poverty. 2, zero hunger. 3, good health and well-being. 4, quality education. 5, gender equality. 6, clean water and sanitation. 7, affordable and clean energy. 8, decent work and economic growth. 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. 10, reduce inequalities. 11, sustainable cities and communities. 12, responsible consumption and production. 13, climate action. 14, life below water, 15, life on land, 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and finally 17, partnerships for the goals. So the goals basically cover everything. And at its heart, this is 17 Sustainable Development Goals provide a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people on the planet, now and into the future. And the current goals are intended to be completed by 2030. So at Blue Missions, as Richard mentioned before, we're deeply committed to goal number 6, clean water and sanitation. And we support that goal through our clean water projects and sanitation projects. Like Richard mentioned before, during our water projects, we construct gravity or pump-driven aqueducts and connect each home with a faucet. So when families have access to clean water, they're given the opportunity to lead healthier lives and create more sustainable communities. So with the 17 goals I just mentioned, what other goals do you think are supported when families have access to clean water? With this, I just want you to put your comments, your answers in the chat, and I'll give you an example. So when families have access to clean water, the children or students inside the family, they have more time to invest in their education because they no longer have to use long hours throughout the day to go collect water for their family. And that's just one example. So if anybody else has anything in mind, you can just drop it in the chat.
We got plenty of time, so let's see.
Good health and well-being, definitely.
Natalia coming in wonderfully to save everyone in this.
Great.
Well, so obviously, so let's focus on that one real quick. So good health and well-being. Obviously, I mentioned global goal number 6. Alex kind of reiterated that. Obviously, that's how our work we promote that, and we always enjoy how each goal is connected to the other. Reducing inequality, beautiful. That's an awesome one. That was my bet on that. No one would reach out to get, but yes, exactly. Reducing inequality. I mentioned how specifically, the water crisis is a heavy burden, a little bit more specifically on women and children. So that was beautiful. Time for education. Exactly. Beautiful. Team 5. There we go. Everyone should have their needs. Yes.
Amen,
we agree. So when you have access to clean water and sanitation, it gives the opportunity for other goals to kind of prosper, right, Alex? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So just like the great ones that we've already mentioned, you also have an ability to have improved lower levels of poverty and zero hunger. And as we build these aqueducts in these communities, it's improved industry and innovation and infrastructure inside these communities. And those are the type of things that will lower overall inequality, which is great that you guys mentioned these. So just moving on to the next part of our projects, which is sanitation. So during sanitation projects, like Richard mentioned, volunteers work with benefiting families to construct VIP latrines. And when families have access to their own private toilets, it creates opportunities for improved health and safety. So again, from the 17 goals that we talked about, what do you think are some goals that are supported when families have access to improved sanitation or private toilets?
Oof, all the good answers are taken already, I feel like.
Yeah. And that's all right. It's all right. But we'll just keep going then. So another thing we do to support the 17 Sustainable Development Goals is cultivate a new generation of global citizens. So my experiences that I've had with Blue Missions and other organizations have kind of molded me into the global citizen I am today, but they have also been very sobering. I've learned that there's a lot of people in the world that need a lot of help. And there's a lot of people in the world struggling to make ends meet, people that are fighting for their right to live, people that are waking up every morning and they don't know where the next meal is going to be coming from. And it's a lot, And I think my challenge for you all as aspiring global citizens is to just keep learning, keep coming to events like this, keep learning about how you can make your community a better place, learn about the different issues people are facing around the world. And from that moment, I want you to decide, okay, what action am I going to take to be part of the solution for these issues or the solution for my local problem? And thank you. And that's what I have for you today.
That was beautiful. That's what, oh, if I can get to the next slide. Oh, I'm sorry, Alex, you had that right up there. Nice little
It's all right. It's
tidbit on the UN.
We had a couple of questions.
Wow, look at that. You had a lot more on there. You have a question on there? Team 5? Team 5's coming in.
Yes, we had a couple of questions. So first of all,
Okay.
people want to know, how can we volunteer? And is there like a certain age you need to be to volunteer?
Awesome. So look, yeah, that's perfect. So how can you help Blue Missions? Is that a couple of questions if I answer that question?
Perfect.
Excuse me. So Alex gave you the challenge to continue learning, to continue to do things like you're doing today. Like the fact that we're here together on a Saturday, just learning about climate change, going to all these different workshops, you're already taking a step in the right direction. With Blue Missions, you just need to be a high school student, enrolled in high school, 15 years freshman, right? Or 14 years old as a freshman, to be able to volunteer and travel with Blue Missions. If you go on our website, which we'll give you the information later, we actually have current trips that we are hopeful to go ahead and travel and execute this summer, right? So we always travel during the summer. Another thing that we focus on is education, right? So again, it's our mission that I showed in the beginning is water sanitation, but also global citizenship. So how do we do that? How do we promote global citizenship? How do we inspire the youth of today? One, by our trips, facilitating our trips, and two, by something called Cause Class, which I'm going to show you guys a quick video of about global citizenship. So what Cause Class is actually a virtual learning platform that you can sign up for right now. Hop on the web, and you're gonna learn about 4 out of those 17 UN SDGs, and you're gonna learn about what you can actually do to impact these goals. And maybe you'll get inspired about something else. Myself and Alex are very passionate about goal number 6. It's obvious, right? Water sanitation, that's our passion, but maybe your passion is 1 or 2 or 14. Whatever the case is, you can learn about it, and you're going to see how you can put some action within your own community, within your social medias when you have a cell phone. Oh, there's the cell phone, or online, whatever the case is. You guys have a lot of power that you guys can educate yourself with right now to put into action, just like one of my best friends did when he created Blue Missions as a high school student. So real quick, bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen so that we can go ahead and put the video up.
Before you share, someone's wondering, can a middle school student join Cause Class?
Absolutely. Yes, a middle school student can absolutely join Cause Class. So about Cause Class, we've been sharing this with middle school students. So from 6th grade all through high school to even university students have been participating in Cause Class and using Cause Class to their benefit, right? So our trips, when you travel with Blue Missions and you go on our trip, you are doing and acting in a way of service. So you receive 150 service hours to be on our trips for a week and work on this project, whether it's water or sanitation. With Cause Class, you're actually going to be eligible to receive 20 service hours because of the reflection, education, and action that you're taking with this course. So yes, middle schoolers, we can sell direct to middle schoolers. You can hop on our website, and we've also partnered with a lot of high school teachers, middle school teachers, and universities to use Cause Class as a tool for their courses. So yes, maybe I gave you a little bit more information than asked for, but the more the merrier. So as soon as I find my mouse, we'll be able to share screens here. Sorry, guys. All right, so I have it up here before we share. So this is a video explaining to you how we're all connected, kind of a little bit of Global Citizenship 101 and how everything we do connects and affects something else, the person next to us, the climate, our community, etc. So hopefully you guys enjoy. It's a quick video, and then we'll hop back in here.
It might seem that the things we affect anything else, but every action has a reaction. We are all connected, even though we each have our own little environments, our homes, where we work. There's still things that we share with all 7.8 billion people on the planet. We all share the air, the ocean, fresh water, and soil. You and a kangaroo in Australia are actually connected. It's hard to imagine, but just think about the world as a fish tank. When any of the fish poop, it makes the water dirtier for everyone. The same goes for our planet. When anybody pollutes the air or water, it affects everyone else. But it goes even further than that. Everything comes from somewhere. When you're done using it, it goes somewhere else. Those somewhere else's are what's key. Everything has a life cycle. In nature, plants are born from the soil. They feed animals, then the animals die and decompose and return nutrients back into the soil, just like a circle. But since the Industrial Revolution around 250 years ago, humans make things in factories from materials extracted from the earth, and these things we make can't be returned to the soil. The people who make these things are sometimes underpaid or work in conditions that are not okay. And there's just so much waste that ends up in oceans or piling up in landfills. These life cycles are unsustainable. What we need are regenerative cycles. A regenerative life cycle doesn't just do less bad, it does more good. It sustainably harvests resources and creates things that can either be recycled infinitely or that can return to the earth, mimicking the closed cycle found in nature. The biggest problem is most people don't stop to consider where their stuff comes from or think about where it ends up after it's tossed. A global citizen is aware of our interconnectedness and makes informed choices to live a lifestyle that has a positive effect on people and the planet. You may not realize it, but each of us has a footprint. That's the total amount of natural resource it takes to make the things we buy and use. It takes into account your diet, what and how much you buy, the energy you consume at home and through transportation, and your water use. This measure also adds up your carbon footprint, how much carbon is pumped into the air when we burn fossil fuels like gas and coal, or when we cut down trees to produce things that we use. The carbon footprint is important because we put so much of it into the air that our climate has started to change and global temperatures are increasing. Our fish tank is getting hotter. Carbon and other greenhouse gases like nitrous oxide and methane act like a blanket over the earth, which heats the oceans and the air, which cause a whole chain of events. Because like I said earlier, everything is connected. A warmer planet means more extreme weather patterns, longer periods of droughts which deplete water sources and makes it harder to grow food, melting Arctic ice, which means rising sea levels, which means flooding. All these things plus our constant search for more resources is destroying natural habitats and causing mass species extinction. This might seem like it's out of your control, like it's too much and too big of a problem to handle. But there's a lot of hope, and it starts with you. To stop climate change, humans need to cut their carbon emission in half by the year 2030. The UN goals challenge the world to live more sustainably. In this class, you'll be learning how to cut your footprint in half and demand a planet that is thriving and regenerating.
Awesome. So let me get back. Sorry, guys, I'm coming here. Am I sharing here? All right. Thank you, Team 5. Team 5, you've been great. Okay, so we're back here. We have cause class on the screen.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. So that video is one of the many videos that are in cause class that you can go on our website right now, bluemissions.org/cause class, and actually sign up to take and learn and understand how you actually have the power to change the world, right? We showed how we're going to share with you how you can take steps to cut that carbon footprint. And that's just one example of how we are kind of tackling, these UN SDGs, teaching them to you, understanding them, kind of answering some questions, doing some reflections, so then you can go ahead and understand how you can make that change in your community, in your home, etc. And so it's a virtual service platform. You can go on there, you can learn from anywhere. You can even do it on your phone, on your tablet. All you need is that internet connection, and you go at your own pace. Okay, when we did this, we kind of created this last year when everyone was moving to all of this virtual learning and all of this new things as a student. And so we didn't want it to just feel like another classroom that was happening in the virtual space. We wanted it to be fun. We wanted it to be interesting, entertaining, and hopefully that video showed you a little piece of how fun and entertaining it can actually be to learn about some of these really important issues that are happening today, and how you can actually take and do something to act towards being part of that solution. And so we have engaging videos, different little audio courses, presentations as well, and some really awesome case studies to show you how current businesses out there are actually taking some steps to, whether it is lessen their carbon footprint, or show you kind of the benefits of how they're creating their business so that it affects their community in a positive way. Because at the end of the day, as the video says, we are all connected. And so global citizens, it's really the essence to one of the reasons that we're all here. We all understand that climate change and that this summit is going to be important to understand how we can all make a difference. Each workshop that you're hopping into can make a difference, make some sort of difference in some sort of way. So you can learn from all of these workshops. You can learn from Cause Class. You can learn from Blue Mission, learn from the water projects, and come back. And now you have that power. And then it's up to you to kind of, do something positive with that power. We always challenge our volunteers. Now that you've learned Cause Class, now that you've been on a project, what are you going to do with all of the information and all that knowledge and all that power that you have, right? Are you going to share it with someone? Are you going to create your own, lane, your own nonprofit, or your own business? And if you're going to create your own business, how are you going to start that so that it makes a positive impact in your community, right? These are all questions that you guys have the answers to. And if you don't feel like you have the answers to, you're not very far away from finding those answers with people like Blue Missions, Cause Class, and a lot of the other people that you're going to go meet and listen to in this workshop. So here's just what it looks like. You can go on the left here. We tackle clean water and sanitation, and you see how we have a different reflection, your own thoughts on that reflection. You have a glossary because there is some words that you got to learn when we're talking about these goals, so on and so forth, all the way down to completing this course to have 20 service hours because of all of the work that you're actually putting in to learn about what these goals are, what is Cause Class, what's my passion, what do I understand that I can do to change, this goal, my community, myself, etc. And at the end of it, you will have this certificate by Blue Missions, this Global Citizenship certificate. You can only get it, whoever signs up for the course, you only get one certificate for completing that course. And again, it shares that we are granting you 20 hours of service virtually through participating with our program. And so that concludes our presentation. Something that, specific to you guys is that you do have a coupon code through next Saturday to get 20% off of Cause Class because you're registered, because you guys are the audience that we love talking to, because your minds are interested in climate change and joining something like this summit. We said, man, let's try to get them this for less than what we give it to everybody else. So you get this wonderful coupon code that'll expire next Saturday, 20% off MYCS21. Again, it's bluemissions.org. We're there in the apps. If you go learn and see it on the pages of Blue Missions, you have the flyer, you have the code, you have all of the direct links as well to find Cause Class and to get to Cause Class. And if you have any questions at all, we're a local nonprofit here in Miami. Our office is down there in Sunset Place in South Miami. We are very available to answer any questions, to do any presentations, or if you are starting a club at your school or are a teacher at a middle school, or whatever the case is where you say, man, I want to put a group of kids together, a club together, a trip together, or let's do Cause Class as a group, whatever it is, we want to help you guys do that. So info@Blue Missions You can ask us any questions, and more often than not, we're going to be able to adapt and create something specific to your needs to be able to just, let's learn more, let's understand more, and let's put that into action, right? So let's build love, unite everyone, like our mission says. And lastly, if we can all do us the wonderful favor, we know how everything works. Instagram, just hop on and find us and give us a follow. In a few weeks, we're actually hosting a free virtual screening of a new documentary that we're putting out. It's about 20-30 minutes long. That'll be a fun evening. It's gonna be free, and next week, FYI, it's not even out live yet, but next week you'll see that on Instagram, and you can sign up for that for free, and that'll be fun, and another way to get involved with Blue Missions and to get involved with hopefully some sort of passion that you guys have with clean water, sanitation, and global citizenship. So that concludes the presentation. I don't know if we have any questions, Team 5, or anything that we want to review again.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. So we do have a couple more questions. So what countries do you guys work in?
Yeah, absolutely. So a majority of our projects are in the Dominican Republic. We have worked in Colombia and in Nicaragua, but currently we only facilitate volunteers to the Dominican Republic because that is where our hub is. We have a team there where we and a full Blue staff where we can keep all the volunteers safe and work with the volunteers. The way we work in Colombia and Nicaragua is we partner with organizations in the ground and actually write grants for those organizations to accomplish those projects. And we've also actually sent some of our workers out to those projects as well to help them complete some of those projects. Great question. Thank you.
What is the most rewarding part of working with Blue Missions?
Oh, wow. The most rewarding part of working with Blue Missions. Well, my personal story, our co-founder, Danny Rodriguez, I've known him since I was in first grade, all through grade school. We went to high school together, and then we went to college at separate colleges. But when I ended up moving back home to Miami after different career changes, my best buddy, my best friend said, hey, let's quit our jobs and let's work for Blue Missions full time. We had already gone on a bunch of trips together. Going on those trips is something very special and something very rewarding. That might be the answer. But for me personally, the fact that I can get up every day and work with, some of my closest friends to air quotes here, to do good in terms of trying to just, connect people with their purpose and their passion. Our volunteers is really something that I truly love. We could easily be a company that just fundraises money for projects and never take volunteers to kind of work on those projects. That's what a lot of nonprofits do, right? We fundraise money for a cause, and then that money is going to go to the professionals to accomplish and execute that. With Blue Missions, we fundraise the money, and we do have the engineers to execute the projects, but we want the volunteers to join us as well, to experience what that's like and to understand, that this crisis, yes, it's global, it's hard, it's scary, but the people that live through this crisis, the communities and the friends that we meet while we're battling this crisis together, they're just like you and me. They just happen to not have clean water or sanitation. So I guess that dynamic of really building that global citizen and understanding that the crisis and the volunteer portion of Blue Missions can go hand in hand is, I guess, one of the most rewarding parts of working for Blue Missions. And that's why I'm so excited for Cause Class too, because it's doing that without having to travel on a trip. We can do it virtually, which is really cool. It's something I was working on all last year. And we're really proud of kind of the product that we put out there for people like you, for everyone here on this workshop, is to just learn, understand, and kind of let's put things into action. Let's get our passion to go into action. So I know that was a long-winded answer, but I could talk to you guys all day about this, because this is truly a gift, a blessing, and my passion to be working with Blue.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And I just want to thank you guys for all the work you're doing. Honestly, it's amazing.
Our pleasure. You guys are amazing. Really, a bunch of students, a get together on a Saturday to talk about climate change and impacting the world and being better global citizens. I mean, I don't think it gets any better than that. So I appreciate all of you guys jumping on here and learning more about us. And again, if you have any more questions, feel free to hop on our site. We have all of the registered links and things on the app for this. So yes, we're available. Thank you guys.
Thank you all very much.